Today we're going to be looking at 10 wide receivers that you can pick off waivers for week 7 to help build your fantasy team, to help set your lineups, or whatever you need to do to get through the season. But what you need to do right now, click that subscribe button, tap it with your finger on the phone, do it right now, give it a quick tap, or click it with your mouse. Get it done so you can stop missing out on these videos we're dropping every day. We're doing deep dives on these players, a lot of lesser known players off the waiver wire. We're doing lists of players every day, going over the advanced metrics. We're helping you set lineups, helping you make trades, everything else. Click that subscribe button, get it done. Stop missing out, and let's dig into these 10 wide receivers that you're probably going to want for week 7. Off the waiver wire, first guy here is Josh Downs. We've been talking about him off and on all season long. He was in this video last week. Most of you guys picked him up last week, but he's still on a lot of waiver wires. Maybe not your league, but somewhere out in the world, in the universe, he is there. 61 snaps last week, 78.2% snap share, saw 8 targets and a 15.5% target share. Gardner Minshew spreading it around. He runs the routes where Minshew likes to target it, short and in the intermediate part of the field. He's seeing 6.8 targets per game. That's pretty solid. That means you're going to post some fantasy results, seeing about a 20% target share. That's what we want out of our wide receiver 2s in fantasy. Michael Pittman here being the wide receiver 1. This is what we're going to want from our players here off the waiver wire. If you can find about a 20% target share off the waiver wire, that's a wide receiver you want to snatch up because you're seeing some consistency. That's a player that should be on a roster, especially on a 12-man league. That's a player you can play the matchups with, see what happens, take those gambles on those plus matchups, and maybe he can hit for you in your lineup. Next player we're looking at here is Michael Wilson. We're talking about him a lot because he runs a lot of routes. Got a lot of routes this week, 67 snaps, 88.2% snap share. He's on the field, saw 4 targets and a 10.5% target share, but an 8 out of 15, getting those deep balls. We had that big week in week 4 against the 49ers, but still, we're going to have some more plus matchups, some more matchups where he's going to get some opportunities. He's going to have some games where he scores for you. He hit double digits twice this year. That's pretty good for a mid-round rookie wide receiver. So the production we're getting right now is pretty good for where he's at and for the team that he's on. We should be getting more opportunities as we get deeper into the season. We're only 6 games into his career, 6 games into the season. We should see him develop. We should see opportunities ramp up a little bit as we see the back 9 of the year. Maybe a guy you don't want to pick up right now, but a guy you may want to look at, stash, or pick up later. Now we're looking at Rondale Moore because this is interesting. I don't see many people talking about this, but since James Conner's out, he's getting the short targets. Those targets are not going to the running backs. It's going to him. He got 1 air yard in this game off of 7 targets. He's got more targets than air yards. That means he's hovering around the line of scrimmage, behind it, getting opportunity, but seeing volume, an 18.4% target share. Again, a wide receiver pushing a 20% target share sitting on the waiver wire. The thing about this, though, those targets aren't deep downfield. It's really going to be hard to rely on him. He's going to have to live off yards after the catch. We have 4.37 speed. He's had games like that where he's popped off before, but those are few and far between, mostly due to injury, but also due to how weird this offense has been over the years. But still, the waiver wire at the wide receiver position is pretty dank right now. If you need targets, you need opportunity, you're hurting, bye weeks are killing you, injuries are killing you, maybe you want to take a chance. You know it's not likely he's going to go boom on you, but maybe you need to take that gamble. Now we're looking at Rashee Rice. I should not be talking about him right now. This is like the 3rd week in a row, maybe 4th, and we did multiple videos of just him in the You Need series. But here we are. Here we are again. He's on waivers in a lot of leagues, a large percentage of them. 4 targets, 10.3% target share. It's hard to rely on 4 targets. I understand that. But he's part of the Chiefs' passing attack, and we can really see a pattern here with the scoring. It's about every other game. We had 2 back-to-back games in double-digit fantasy scoring here. 12.7% target share on the season. Those are numbers you don't really want, but since he's on the Chiefs, this team's moving the ball downfield. We're getting good opportunities here in this offense. He's a guy you're going to want to look at, and we're only 6 games into his career. We're ramping up. We're seeing the trends go up for him, and he's a player you're going to want to look at. Now we're looking at Curtis Samuel on the season. 5.2 targets a game, 15.5% target share. Matching Jahan Dotson right there. But he's beating him out with 17 yards after the catch per game. So every game he's getting you 17 yards in yak. Jahan Dotson's not doing that. He's getting the shorter targets, but he's making something out of it because he's got that 4.3 speed. He's explosive, and they want to chuck those short balls to him because he can do that. He's that layer of the offense there. So he's getting some opportunity. And 3 games in a row with double-digit fantasy scoring and almost 15 plus on all 3 of them if he would have scored 1 more points last week. So look at him. Now we're looking at Wan'Dale Robinson. We keep talking about him, but you know what? The Giants are dank. You can't trust the Giants. Even when he's running hot, you're still not going to trust him. But still, 6.3 targets a game, 20% target share right now. If that's on waivers, anybody with a 20% target share, pick them up and see what happens. Play the matchups. Even on a dank team like this where it's off and on, you know what? Maybe you catch the on in the right matchup. Just see what happens. I'm not saying he's going to go to the moon because probably not. That's probably not going to happen. But a 20% target share in the right matchup where the ball is flowing, it could be a big week for him. So he's a guy you may want to have on the back end of your roster. Now we're looking at Trey Palmer. This is a fun rookie wide receiver. Mike Evans came into this game with a hamstring issue. We're also coming after the bye. A lot of these teams reshuffle the deck after the bye week. We might be seeing this. Who knows? This might be an effect after the hamstring of Mike Evans. Pay attention to Trey Palmer because he is a baller. We saw that in preseason. We saw that in camp. We saw that in Nebraska last year as he transferred over there and immediately produced at a high level. He had 7 targets in week 6 against the Lions, not per game, and an 18.9% target share, but saw 154 air yards and a 22 ADOT. That means he's getting deep balls, deep targets. So we're going to get that Will Fuller effect out of him if he consistently sees volume or something happens to Mike Evans. If Mike Evans is out, you run to get Trey Palmer and hope for the best. I see like a Jameson Williams-esque role, Will Fuller-esque role. Deep ball city, boom bust from week to week. You don't know which one's going to hit. You want to play the matchups, but it all depends on the deep ball, whether it gets reeled in or not, and how many times and how many yards and whether or not it goes in the end zone. But those splash performances can win you weeks because they could be 20 plus, and that's something you're going to want in your lineup. Trey Palmer could be that down the line. Now we're looking at Rashid Shaheed. Air yard city with this guy too. And he's the 3rd wide receiver in this offense. 82 air yards a game, 25.1% share of the air yards. Will Fuller effect, like it's a scientific term because we talk about this almost every video where we talk about wide receivers. Wide receivers who run deep, get those deep targets. They bring 1 or 2 in. You could get lucky and have a splash week. You don't know when it's going to be. You can try playing the matchups with good luck. But if you're hurting, grab one of these guys. See what happens. If you're in a 16-man league, 14-man league, you're hurting at wide receiver, you know what? Play around with these air yard wide receivers. See if something happens for you. But he's getting opportunities. He's seeing some moments here. He had one last week where he scored 18 fantasy points. It's going to happen again because the deep balls are coming his way. Now we're looking at Joshua Palmer here, available in 49% of leagues. So really, they're saying, hey, don't let him sit anymore. Don't let him sit anymore. Go get him. He's not going to win your league. He's not going to do that. He's going to get you 10, 11, 12, 13 fantasy points a game. He averages 13 with Mike Williams out. Probably a little bit less now with 2 10-point performances now. But still, he's consistent. If you need consistency, Joshua Palmer's there. But he's probably rostered. He should be rostered. That's why he's in the back of this video. Also in the back of this video, Quentin Johnston. I don't stash wide receivers. I stash running backs. But if you want to stash a wide receiver, this might be it. Did not look good yesterday against the Cowboys, but we ran a lot of snaps. Snaps and routes are going to equate to opportunities somewhere down the line or potentially down the line. May not happen, but again, we're looking at a first-round wide receiver with some size. You can play on the boundary. If the game script gets pushed and Herbert needs to go the other way in some dropbacks, could be Quentin Johnston. Starting to look kind of bleak, but that happens with a lot of rookies. Sometimes the back 4 games, 3 games of a fantasy season, that's when some of those rookies will hit, and you may want them stashed. But I rather stash running backs, not wide receivers. So that one's on you if you want to do it. But the upside's grand. The upside's still nuclear with this player. But let me know which wide receivers you're trying to get off the waiver wire. We talked about 10 of them today, but there's oodles of them. There's tons of them. They're going up and down like the stock market. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Catch you on the next video.